Good morning, my friends. This is Paulette again. I hope you're having a very nice day. And this is Abuelita's Cocina. Welcome back. Today we are going to be making sheepherder's bread. And before I start, I wanted to talk a little bit about the life and ways of a sheepherder. My grandpa, Agapito Quintana, and my uncle Manuel Quintana, and many of the men from around the area, even the county, they would go to Wyoming to work as sheep herders. And I'm sure it was a very lonely life, but they did what they had to do to support their family. My grandpa Agapito, he was fortunate enough that he was the cook for all the sheep herders. And so because of him, I have fond memories that contributed to my childhood memories. You know, we take flour for granted, but we don't realize that a long time ago, it wasn't like if ladies could just go to the store and buy a big sack of flour. They would have to get their wheat. Then they would take it to what we call in Spanish el molino, like a mill. And there they would take all their wheat, and from there at the mill, it was transformed into flour. Later, years later, it started to get easier for the ladies. But when my grandpa would come home from Wyoming, we used to love to see him because he wouldn't come home maybe once a year. And when he did, he would always make us sheepherder's bread. The first thing that we're going to do is I'm going to get 2 cups of flour. I'm going to place 1/4 cup of yeast. And this bread is so forgiving. And you have to understand that when they were working out in the camp, they didn't have all the essentials. They had to do with what they had. And they cooked and they baked in a very simple manner. Now we're going to go back up to the next thing, and it's going to be a 1 teaspoon of salt. Okay, there it goes. And the next thing that we're going to be doing is adding 1.5 cups of warm water. It doesn't have to be very hot, for the reason that if you do, you're going to kill the yeast and your bread won't rise. So in goes the very warm water. And it is so simple to make. The next thing you're going to do is you're just going to mix. And this dough is not going to be stiff, okay? It has to be a little sticky. And it's not going to say, well, no, I'm going to need more flour. No, this recipe does not call for a lot of flour. And so we're just going to be mixing and mixing and mixing, just to make sure that we incorporate everything together. Let me show you. I don't know if you can see, but see? It just... And when this happens, this is a consistency. That means that your dough is ready. The next thing is that I'm going to get my gloves on. Right here I have a Dutch oven. This is what they used in the olden days to prepare the food underground or on top of their fire. And I already have some parchment paper in there, and that's so it'll be easier to handle. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pour all this dough in here. In it goes. How easy is that, my friends? And you know, I want to say a big hello also to all the people from New Mexico, from Mexico, also from the land countries, and people from various parts of the world Thank you. Thank you for coming to visit. Okay, here we go. Okay, that's all. The only thing you're going to do now is you're going to spread it. Just spread it, and the dough is going to spread on its own. So not to worry, okay? Once that the dough is already prepared, you let it rise for anywhere from 4 to 6 hours. This recipe, I worked it out to where you only have to let it rise for 3 hours. But it doesn't matter. If you take off somewhere and you're not back in time, it's not going to mess up. So now we have our dough inside our Dutch oven. And the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to place the Dutch oven in here. And then the lid is going to go on top with all the hot coals. As you see, the Sheepherder's bread is now in the Dutch oven. There it's going to stay for like 25 minutes. And then after that, I'm going to remove the lid and then let it cook some more so that it'll get brown on the top. Well, our time for baking the Sheepherder's bread is up. We left it 20 minutes with a lid and all the coals on top of it. But our 20 minutes are up. What I did after that was I removed the lid and I left the bread for 10 minutes, just until I could see that the bread had turned like a golden brown. I'm going to remove the parchment paper and I'm going to place it. I'm going to place it over here. Now I'm going to let it cool just for a little bit, okay? A lot of times people like to eat it right away. They love the bread with stews. Just with butter, with their jellies, anything that they had. And let me show you. Remember that we spoke a little bit about knocking? Here we go. Our Sheepherder's bread has cooled a little bit, and so I'm going to slice it so you can see. This is like a rustic bread, for the reason that because they could not really afford any soft breads. A lot of times they had to take the bread with them, and it needed to be sturdy so that it wouldn't fall apart. I'm going to take a little bit of jelly that my friend brought me. She loves to make jelly. Sometimes she comes to visit and she brings the jelly and I make the bread. We'll sit there and drink some coffee and eat our bread. It is to die for. It is really, really delicious. I have so much to share with you, and I hope that you will enjoy them enough to keep coming back. So with that, I'm going to close the video for Sheepherder's bread, and I will see you the next time. You have a very blessed day. Bye.